All right, let's jump right into this explainer and unpack the totally invisible forces manipulating our daily spending. You don't just wake up one day and decide to waste money, right? It's way more subtle than that. Today, we're looking at the actual research to see exactly how these psychological mechanisms basically hijack our rational brains and trick us into clicking add to cart or, grabbing that candy bar at the register.
Here is what we're covering today. 1. The epidemic. 2. Physical traps. 3. Digital dopamine. 4. The Diderot effect. And finally, 5. Taking control.
Starting with Section 1, the epidemic, the scope of spontaneous spending.
Just to show you how massive this is, Invest data shows a whopping 84% of all shoppers make impulse buys. Honestly, it's pretty much a universal behavior at this point. And get this, 54% of US shoppers admit to dropping $100 or more on stuff they never even planned on buying. That actually accounts for almost 40% of all e-commerce spending. So we're not talking about some rare lapse in judgment here. It's literally a giant, predictable economic machine.
Which leads to a pretty uncomfortable question. Are you actually in control of your spending? When you buy something, are you making a rational, calculated choice, or did some external system just completely bypass your logic? Just keep that in the back of your mind as we go.
Moving right along to Section 2, physical traps, brick-and-mortar mind games.
Now, crazy enough, despite everyone shopping online, 8 out of 10 impulse buys still happen in physical stores. They've had decades to perfect this stuff. The Economic Times points out 5 ridiculously sneaky tricks supermarkets use. First, they hide essentials like milk all the way in the back so you have to walk past aisles of tempting stuff. Second, they play slow music so you chill out and stay longer, because more time equals more money spent. Third, the priciest items are staring you right in the face at eye level. Fourth, those massive only today urgency signs. And fifth, the classic checkout trap, stacking candy right where you're stuck waiting and your willpower is totally drained.
Why do those urgency signs work so incredibly well? Well, academics call it the scarcity heuristic. As outlined in the Journal of World Economy, when you combine a limited time offer with scarcity, it triggers a primal instinct, loss aversion. You literally feel the pain of potentially missing out on a deal way more intensely than the joy of actually getting it. It completely short-circuits your brain, making you think something is super valuable simply because it might disappear.
Next up, Section 3, digital dopamine, neuromarketing online.
Online stores took those physical traps and just totally weaponized them. This funnel from the Advances in Consumer Research Journal shows exactly how marketers target your brain's reward circuits. It kicks off with a dopamine trigger, maybe a hyper-personalized ad. That creates visual stimulation. Your dopamine spikes as you anticipate a reward, and boom, it forces a behavioral response like a click or a scroll. That drops you right into an impulse purchase. You aren't really deciding, your neurochemistry is being nudged. And some platforms are just insanely good at this. Amazon is the undeniable king with 38% of impulse buys, mostly because their patented one-click checkout totally removes the friction that would normally let your logical brain step in. Then you've got Instagram and TikTok Shop taking up nearly half of the rest. TikTok is wild because it uses these highly emotional video loops to perfectly prime you, seamlessly turning entertainment into instant gratification.
When you actually ask consumers what pushes them over the edge, the data's super revealing. Look at the top here. Countdown timers and scarcity messages. Those are the big ones. Psychologists say this hijacks our System 1 thinking. That's the fast, emotional, reactive part of the brain. When a timer is ticking down, your logical System 2 brain doesn't even get a split second to ask, wait, do I actually need this?
Which brings us to Section 4, the Diderot effect, tricking ourselves.
Because honestly, it's not just marketers tricking us. We completely trap ourselves. This is called the Diderot effect. It's named after a French philosopher who bought this gorgeous new scarlet robe only to suddenly realize all his other perfectly good stuff looked like garbage next to it. The Diderot effect basically says that getting one new thing creates this crazy spiral of consumption where you have to buy more things just to make everything feel aligned and cohesive again.
Financial analyst Steve Invest has a perfect modern example of this. Picture your home office. Your setup works totally fine, but maybe your computer's a bit laggy, so you drop $1,000 upgrading it. Well, suddenly your old charger looks cheap, the mouse doesn't match, the desk feels sad. Nothing is actually broken, but it feels completely out of place now. So you buy a matching wireless mouse, a sleek stand, perfect lighting. You didn't plan a whole room makeover, but that first purchase reset your baseline. It started an expensive chain reaction.
And this happens because we're rarely just buying an object. We're buying into a new identity. When you upgrade one part of your lifestyle, your brain practically demands that everything else matches that new standard, just to fix the psychological tension. As Steve Invest points out, this is exactly why people who get raises don't always build wealth. Identity upgrades are way more expensive than income increases. Your standard of living just outpaces your discipline.
Finally, Section 5, taking control, breaking the cycle.
So how do we actually stop the bleeding? There's a concept I found during my research that really stuck with me. The smartest financial decision you'll ever make is the one that stops the next 5 decisions from happening. Think about that. Real financial control isn't about tracking every single penny. It's about spotting that chain reaction before you even make the first buy.
Author James Clear has 5 awesome, totally actionable rules to help keep this in check. Number 1, reduce exposure. Just unsubscribe from those retail emails and delete the shopping apps to kill the digital dopamine. Number 2, buy items that fit your current setup so you don't trigger that Diderot effect we just talked about. Number 3, set hard, self-imposed financial limits. Number 4, try a buy one, give one rule so you aren't just hoarding stuff. And number 5, do a no-buy month to break the habit loop and force yourself to get resourceful. I want to leave you with this one final thought. Next time your mouse is hovering over that checkout button, or you're staring down some limited time offer in a store, stop asking if you can afford it. Instead, ask yourself, what will this purchase force me to afford next? Because if you wouldn't agree to the entire chain reaction, you absolutely shouldn't say yes to that first step. Thanks for diving into this explainer with me, and I really hope this helps you take back control of your choices.